Right now, you're in your early 20s, you have just graduated with a degree in human resources, or perhaps you are in your first or second year as an HR coordinator or an HR assistant. You're sitting at a desk processing leave requests, scheduling interviews, updating the human resource information systems, and answering the exact same policy questions from employees over and over again. You're doing everything your university professor told you to do. You're paying your dues, you are waiting for someone to notice your hard work so you can finally get promoted as an HR business partner in 5 years. I need you to wake up. If you continue on this path, you will not be promoted in 5 years. You will be permanently unemployed in 2. The traditional entry-level HR career path have completely obliterated by artificial intelligence. The floor of the human resource, the administration, the payroll, the compliance tracking, and the employee queries has been completely absorbed by enterprise LLMs and automated workflows. The companies in Dubai, London, and New York do not need a 23-year-old to push papers anymore. They have an algorithm that does it flawlessly, 24/7 for a fraction of your salary. If your entire professional identity is tied to the administrative execution of HR, you are a ghost walking through a corporate graveyard. But there is a massive, unprecedented opportunity hiding inside this crisis. Because AI has destroyed the administrative floor, the ceiling for young, aggressive, highly strategic HR professionals have never been higher. Today, we are completely redesigning your career architecture. I am going to give you the exact step-by-step structural path to go from a vulnerable junior employee to an untouchable human capital architect. I am going to tell you exactly what to stop doing, exactly what skills you must acquire, and precise courses you need to take to command the algorithm instead of competing against it. Grab a notebook, it is time to stop acting like an administrator and start operating like an enterprise. Welcome back. I'm Dr. HR. To understand why my approach to the human resource is so aggressively different from the traditional academic HR advice you have been fed, you must understand my underlying architecture. My foundation is deeply rooted in system architecture. I hold a bachelor's degree in engineering, specifically computer science. I paired that aggressively, analytically, and algorithmic mindset with a master's in human resource from prestigious Tata Institute of Social Sciences TISS in Mumbai. And eventually, I earned my PhD in HR. I have operated on the ground here in Dubai since 2010. By architecturing complex human capital systems and consulting for over 20 apex corporate entities across the Middle East, I learned exactly how institutional algorithms calculate value and how they mitigate risk during a squeeze. I do not look at HR as a people function. I look at HR as an industrial supply chain of human capability. My background in computer science means I understand exactly how the AI code works. And my PhD in HR means I know exactly what the code can never replace. As a young professional, you must adopt this hybrid mindset. You must become a technical operator who understands the human psychology. Here is your definitive, multi-phase path to dominating the 2026 HR landscape. Phase 1, the mindset shift, killing the personal delusion. The first step on your path is a violent psychological shift. You must permanently kill the idea that human resources is about making people happy. University teaches HR as if it is a corporate therapy department. It is not. The purpose of human resources is a highly competitive, capitalistic ecosystem is to maximize the return on investment, the ROI, of the company's largest operating expense, its payroll. If you walk into a performance review or an interview for a new role and you talk about employee engagement without tying it to a financial metric, the executive in the room will instantly write you off as a junior administrator. You must learn to speak the language of the business. You're not improving the onboarding experience, you're not accelerating the time to productivity for new engineering hires by 14 days, resulting in a net saving of $50,000 per quarter. You're not launching a wellness program, you are deploying a targeted burnout mitigation strategy to reduce the critical talent attrition, protecting 2 million in institutional intellectual property. When you shift your mindset from personal administrator to a human capital architect, you stop being a cost center and you become a revenue protector. This is the foundational prerequisite for everything that follows. Phase 2, year 1 to 2, the automation and the analytics architecture. If your first 2 years, your primary objective is not to master complex employee relations. Your primary objective is to make yourself the most technological lethal person in the HR department. Most senior HR directors are terrified of AI. They do not understand how APIs work. They do not know how to prompt an LLM properly. They are paralyzed. You, as a young digital native, you must exploit this weakness. You must become the person who automates the department. Execution strategy. Look at your current daily task. Are you manually scheduling interviews? Are you manually answering email queries about maternity leave? Are you manually transferring data from an ATS, the applicant tracking system, to HRIS? Stop doing it manually. Spend your weekends learning how to build an automated workflows. Build a localized AI agent fed with your company's employee handbook to answer tier 1 queries. Use Zapier or Make.com to connect the ATS directly to the payroll system. When you sit down with your HR director, you do not ask for more administrative work. You present them with a dashboard. You say, I notice our team spends 40 hours a week answering repetitive policy questions. I built a secure internal AI agent using our documentation that now handles 90% of these queries instantly. I have recovered 36 hours of my week. I would like to use those hours to shadow you on an upcoming M&A restructuring project. This is how a 24-year-old skipped the line. You automate your own job and you use that recovered time to steal high-level experience from your superiors. Phase 3, year 3 to 5, the irreducible human premium. Once you have established yourself as a technological orchestrator of the department, you must immediately pivot into the irreducible human premium. As we have established through the extensive market diagnostics, AI raises the floor, but it does not raise the ceiling. The ceiling consists of a messy, highly complex, deeply political human problems that software cannot solve. In year 3 to 5, you must aggressively position yourself to handle these specific crises. The 3 pillars of the HR ceiling. 1. High stakes employee relations. An AI can flag a compliance risk, but it cannot sit in a room with a crying employee and a defensive manager and untangled a complex harassment allegation. It cannot read the micro-expression, understand the unwritten political power dynamics of the office, and execute a fair, legally bulletproof resolution. You must volunteer to scribe for complex investigations. You must shadow the legal team. You must learn the localized labor law like the UAE Federal Decree Law number 33. Inside and out, not just as text, but as a strategic weapon. 2. Executive coaching and OD, the organization development. AI cannot give a terrified VP of sales the courage to fire their toxic top performer. You must learn the behavioral psychology. You must learn how to read executives, understand the insecurities, and guide them towards the structural organization change. 3. The elite talent acquisition, the closing. AI will source the candidate and screen the resumes, but securing a highly sought after passive chief technology officer who is already making $400,000 at a rival firm requires human diplomacy. It requires taking them to dinner in DIFC, understanding their career frustration, and architecturing a bespoke, highly creative compensation package. By year 5, you should not be touching a spreadsheet. You should be the corporate diplomat, the psychological strategist, and the trusted advisor of the C-suite. Phase 4, the 2026 curriculum, courses and upskilling. You cannot achieve this architecture with a standard university degree. You must engage in just-in-time hyper-learning. If you want to be an apex HR professional in 2026, here is the exact non-negotiable curriculum you must execute outside your working hours. Do not waste your money on generic intro to HR certificate. You need hard structural skills. Course 1, AI orchestration and workflow automation. What to study? You do not need to be a full stack developer, but you must understand logic gates and APIs. Take courses on Zapier, Make.com, and Microsoft Power Automate. Learn how to chain software together. Advanced level. Take a course on prompt engineering for enterprise and learn the basic of LangChain or custom GPT creations. You need to know how to build secure, localized AI model that uses your company proprietary data without leaking it to the public domain. Course 2, Public Analytics and Data Science Basics. What to study? Excel is no longer enough. When you are dealing with global workforce of 10,000 plus employee, Excel chokes. You need to learn the basic of Python, specifically the Panda libraries or the SQL. The goal, take a course on people analytics and data visualization using tools like Tableau or Power BI. You must learn how to take massive amounts of human capital data, attrition rate, compensation bands, performance metric, and turn them into a singular, undeniable visual dashboard that forces a CEO to make a decision. Course 3, Behavioral Economics and Advanced Negotiation. What to study? Stop studying HR theories and start studying human leverage. You are managing the most complex, volatile asset on earth, the human ego. The goal, take masterclasses in advanced negotiation, conflict resolutions, and behavioral economics. Read everything you can on how humans miscalculate risk and make irrational decisions. You need to understand the psychology of persuasion so that when a manager refuses to follow the performance management framework, you know exactly what psychological levers to pull to gain compliance. Course 4, Lean Six Sigma, the green belt or the black belt. What to study? This is my secret weapon. HR is traditionally viewed as a quantitative, soft profession. You must make it quantitative, the hard science. The goal, get certified in Lean Six Sigma. Learn the principle of Kaizen, continuous improvement. Apply the DMAC format. Define, measure, analyze, improve control to your HR processes. When you map the time to hire pipeline like a Toyota manufacturing plant, identifying bottlenecks and eliminating waste, you elevate yourself from an HR rep to a process engineer. Course 5, Business Strategy for Non-Financial Manager. What to study? As I mentioned, you must speak ROI. The goal, take a rigorous courses on corporate strategy or reading P&L statement. You must be able to sit in a room with the CEO, look at the quarterly earning report, and instantly calculate how a proposed 3% reduction in headcount will impact the EBITDA margins versus the long-term cost of a lost intellectual property. Phase 5, the enterprise of one mentality. The final piece of this architecture is entirely psychological. You must kill the employee mindset. When you operate as an employee, you wait for your managers to tell you what to do. You wait for your annual review to ask for a 4% raise. You wait for a permission to be valuable. In the AI era, waiting is suicide. You must operate as an enterprise of one. You must highly specialize B2B, business to business consultancy. Your current employer is simply your primary client. Your brain and the heuristics are your R&D department. Your automated workflows are your supply chain. Your LinkedIn presence, where you break down complex HR tech implementations or labor law analysis, is your marketing department. When you sit down for an interview for your next major jump, you do not act like a junior candidate hoping they like your resume. You walk in as a structural consultant. You audit their tech stack during the interview. You ask them brutal, piercing questions about their internal HR bottlenecks. You tell them, based on my analysis, your onboarding friction is costing you roughly $200,000 a year in a lost productivity. Here is an automated AI-driven architecture I will build in first 90 days to solve that. When you shift your psychology from a submissive employee to an apex enterprise, market stops treating you like an overhead expense and start treating you like a premier asset. Look closely at the global market. The old guard of human resources is exhausted. The legacy HR directors are terrified of the AI wave. They are relying on their 20-year-old administrative experience to protect them, and they are being systematically dismantled by the algorithm. you have the ultimate advantage. You are stepping into this arena without the baggage of the old system. You have the energy, the digital native intuition, and now you have the exact structural blueprint. But if you carry the submissive paper pusher mindset of 2010s into the 2026 corporate battlefield, you will be stripped of your value and discarded. Automate the floor, master the tech stack, build your business acumen, and forcefully claim the irreducible human ceiling. If you are a young HR professional ready to completely stop operating like an amateur and start building your structural leverage like an elite corporate executive, the ultimate manual is waiting for you. For the record, my brand new book, The 2026 Career Architect, is officially live and available for download right now exclusively on namaste.ai. This book is a culmination of years of computer science and HR frameworks applied directly to the global labor market. It contains the exact prompt templates, the skill stacking blueprints, the courses, and the advanced positioning you need to bypass the entry-level grind and dominate your trajectory. Stop managing administration. Start architecturing human capital. Process the blip, execute the strategy, and I'll see you at the top.